Imagine if your school teachers could literally turn into cats, dual dark wizards, or send you to detention with a blood quill. Yeah, Hogwarts wasn't exactly your typical boarding school. But here's the real question: which professors actually deserved that respect? And which ones should have been banned from teaching the day they started? We're ranking every major Hogwarts professor, from the absolute worst to the ones who defined generations. Let's dive in. Number 14 on Professor Cuthbert Binns. Ah yes, the only teacher at Hogwarts who's literally dead and somehow still boring. Professor Binns, ghost of the history of magic classroom, is the ultimate cautionary tale. Even death couldn't save his lectures from being sleep-inducing. Canon tells us he died in his sleep, then woke up as a ghost and just kept teaching. Didn't even notice he was dead. Respect the dedication, sure, but charisma? Zero. Even Hermione, who found joy in arithmancy, couldn't stand his class. If your students are learning more about how to nap sitting upright than about goblin rebellions, it's time to retire again. Number 13, Gilderoy Lockhart. If arrogance had a face, it would have perfect teeth and golden curls. Lockhart wasn't just a bad professor, he was a walking PR campaign. He faked his entire career, stole other people's stories, and obliviated witnesses just to write best-selling books about himself. He's the reason Never Meet Your Heroes should be in the Hogwarts curriculum. To be fair, his teaching moments were memorable. Cornish pixies loose in the classroom, the duel with Snape that went downhill in 5 seconds, classic Lockhart chaos. And the irony? The man who made a career out of erasing memories erased his own. Poetic justice, really. Number 12, Quirinus Quirrell. Poor Quirrell, nervous, stuttering, and hiding the darkest secret imaginable under that turban. In the books, he actually started out as a curious scholar. Brilliant, ambitious, until he met Voldemort on his travels. And instead of running, he offered himself as a host. Possessed, corrupted, terrified. He became the perfect example of how knowledge without wisdom destroys you. Not a good teacher, but an unforgettable story. He taught defense against the dark arts, and ironically, became the lesson itself. Number 11, Dolores Umbridge. If you just got a shiver, good, you're supposed to. Because Umbridge wasn't a villain in the shadows. She was one in broad daylight, sipping tea with kittens on the wall. Her brand of evil was bureaucracy, smiling cruelty disguised as discipline. She didn't just torture students, she rewrote the curriculum to make them defenseless. Every rule she enforced was an abuse of power wrapped in pastel pink. And that's what makes her terrifying. Voldemort was honest about being evil. Umbridge thought she was righteous, easily one of the most hated characters in all of Potter history. And for good reason. Number 10, Sybill Trelawney. Divination might not be everyone's favorite class, but Trelawney's story hits deeper than people realize. Yes, she's dramatic, prone to fainting fits, and loves predicting doom during tea readings. But the irony is that beneath the perfume of incense and guesswork, she actually is a true seer. She just doesn't know when it's real. Her prophecy literally shaped the entire saga, the one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord. So while most students rolled their eyes, Trelawney was accidentally steering fate. Flawed teacher, yes, but her eccentric heart and hidden truth earn her this spot. Number 9, Rubeus Hagrid. Hagrid wasn't just a professor. He was family. And sure, his classes could go off the rails. I mean, who assigns a hippogriff as a first-day lesson? But Hagrid's magic was never just in spells. It was in loyalty. He saw good in everyone, even when no one else did. He risked everything for creatures the world feared and for kids who just needed kindness. Was he technically a great teacher? Maybe not, but emotionally, he taught more about bravery and empathy than most wizards ever could. Number 8, Pomona Sprout quiet, steady, often overlooked. Professor Sprout wasn't flashy, but when it mattered, she saved lives. Her herbology work produced the mandrakes that unpetrified students in Chamber of Secrets. And when the final battle came, she was the one flinging Devil's Snare at Death Eaters. That's some serious plant power. Sprout represents the heart of Hogwarts, dependable, humble, and deeply good. She didn't just teach about roots, she was one. Number 7. Horace Slughorn. Slughorn, the master of connections. A man who could network in his sleep and still make it feel like an honor to be invited. He was vain, sure, collected talented students like trophies, but he also recognized potential long before others did. He taught both Lily Evans and Tom Riddle, and his memory of Riddle's questions about Horcruxes ended up being one of the most vital clues in the entire war. Morally gray, but influential. The kind of teacher who reminds you that brilliance and guilt can live in the same heart. Number 6. Remus Lupin. If every defense against the dark arts teacher had been like Lupin, Hogwarts would have been a safer place. Calm, kind, quietly broken. He didn't just teach spells, he taught empathy. He saw the fear in Neville, the courage in Harry, and the humanity in everyone. He turned boggarts into laughter and trauma into teaching. And his lessons stayed with students long after the term ended. The only tragedy was how short his time was. Number 5. Filius Flitwick. Now, here's a man who doesn't get enough credit, a dueling champion, a charms prodigy, and probably the only professor who could make levitation fun. Flitwick had this energy, cheerful, sharp, and quietly confident. He fought in both wizarding wars, trained students who became heroes, and defended Hogwarts with skill that left even Death Eaters stunned. And he did it all while being underestimated, which somehow makes him even more legendary. Number 4. Severus Snape, the most complicated man to ever hold a piece of chalk. Snape was cruel, sharp, and impossible to please. But beneath all that bitterness was a story that redefined sacrifice. He loved, he lost, he repented, and for years no one saw the full truth. Snape wasn't teaching for glory. He was protecting Harry because he had to, and because he couldn't forgive himself. He died misunderstood. And that's why his place here matters. Not as a perfect teacher, but as the perfect lesson in redemption. Number 3. Minerva McGonagall, firm, fair, and absolutely iconic. McGonagall is the teacher who terrified you and made you love learning, often in the same sentence. She represented balance, strict discipline, boundless courage, and a heart that beat for Hogwarts itself. When chaos struck, she was the one who turned stone corridors into fortresses. The way she took command during the Battle of Hogwarts, it's still one of the greatest moments in the series. She was the soul of the school, and she never let it fall. Number 2, Alastor Mad-Eye Moody. All right, technically it wasn't always the real Moody, but that just shows how much impact he made even through impersonation. He brought real-world experience into Hogwarts, showing students what danger actually looked like. Constant vigilance wasn't just a catchphrase, it was survival. And once the real Moody returned, he embodied that same gritty honor, the kind that teaches through scars, not textbooks. Every Auror who trained after him carried that influence. Number 1, Albus Dumbledore. You knew it was coming. The mind behind the magic, part philosopher, part strategist, part father figure. Dumbledore didn't just teach spells. He taught purpose. He believed in second chances, in mercy, and in letting people choose their path, even when it broke his heart. He raised a generation to think critically, to question power, and to believe that even the smallest act of kindness mattered. And yes, he was flawed, manipulative at times, but that's what makes him real. The greatest teacher isn't perfect. They just change you forever. Hogwarts had bad teachers, brilliant ones, and a few who changed history. So now it's your turn. Who surprised you the most in this ranking? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And here's your trivia for today. Which Hogwarts professor taught the longest even before Dumbledore became headmaster? Think you know? Leave your answer below. And when you're done, check out my deep dive into every subject taught at Hogwarts Explained. Because if you think the professors are fascinating, wait till you see what they actually taught. See you there. Class dismissed.